these grand hopes of advancing pretty far in the text this term. And that's just not going to happen. We're just moving through very, very slowly. And because I was hoping we could get to a place like maybe even about 6 months where we could think about um, Anastasia, send a message to the other Anastasia, Mansarova. I want to make her start doing other work. um, so we're in a deep, deep section, and actually, we're going to do a meditation today to help get us. Once we study this for maybe about 45 minutes or so, then we're going to go into the meditation. How do we how can we apply these ideas? Because the main idea where we are in the text is if we're able to accurately identify the self that shows up, who is not there on its own for no reason at all. Cameras, please. I want to see your faces. I'm going to start having you read whether your camera is on or off. So just turn on your camera. um, the idea that if you can go through the process of being able to experience, that is the self that I need to deny, the self that I thought was there, that innate me that holds on to me, that me. Who is that? If it were to be there, here's the whole trick: is if it were to be there, if it were to exist for $100, ultimately, no one said it fast enough. If the self, if me, the meanness, right? You have your own me, not Tim. If me were to exist ultimately, by definition, what would it look like? Meaning, what would you experience it like? And then to understand that that's deceptive reality, and to understand that that's not quite how it is. And then you proceed to cancel it, deny it. And that cancellation is what brings you closer and eventually to seeing emptiness directly on the sutric path. I was having a conversation with some friends Friday morning at Peachtree Cafe. This is why you need friends who around you who are Dharma friends. So you can just show up and hang out and be like, oh, let's talk about this, informally, right? And we were talking about the the relative slowness of the sutric path towards the relative quickness of the diamond way path. And if you've been listening to classes long enough, you're probably starting to hear, when we say open and secret teachings, or we start saying the difference between a sutric perspective. Oftentimes I'll say in sutra, blah, 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 blah. The Mayingak, the thing that I'm not saying is that there's another perspective in Diamond Way. Okay. So if you've been listening, from the beginning, saying in sutra, I'm saying there's other perspectives. And so, but what's the difference and what's the value of one to the other? And of course, we can't talk about the other because it's secret, but we are talking about it. Is that, and it's really the better way of describing it is the path that is shared and the path that is not shared, or the path that is common or the path that is unique. To walk a unique path, you have to be able to walk the common path, right? Unique makes no sense without not unique in a way, right? And I think there's I don't even like the distinction that much. To me, it's more like it's foundations. Like sutra is the foundation. And then you use that to fuel the higher practices. And without the fuel, or the control, let's call it the control, right? Like if you have a rocket ship and you don't have the right rudders and the right wings and the right shape, you launch that rocket, it's going to go right into the ground, right? But you need I don't like using the word control because it sounds negative, but you need the structures, you need the foundations, you need the shape, you need the tools that are in sutra to make any of that work 100%. And if they're not strong enough, the diamond way practice will just and not go anywhere or crash beautifully, gloriously. Right. And so the understandings of emptiness that come out of what we're doing in LAMRIM fuel that practice. And it's not like, oh, I'm a tantrika now, so I can just do what I want, or I don't need LAMRIM. Shut up. You need LAMRIM more because you are a tantrika, not less. So don't think that there's some kind of achievement that somehow you're better than LAMRIM or better than the 18 ACI courses just because you've graduated. Right. Well, right. So in what we're doing in this deep exploration of emptiness, we haven't really even done much LAMRIM, honestly. Like the steps on the path, we haven't done many of the steps. We're building our toolkit. Like we built, what did we build so far? We built a meditation practice, right? You're all meditating every day, I'm assuming. Everyone's like, doop. All the cameras go off. No one's paying attention, you know. And then if you meditate every day, is your meditation practice an affliction or is it a progress? Are you doing it just because you should? Or are you doing it because it's helping you? Like, has your meditation practice gotten lazy and you're just sort of doing nothing and spaced out, right? Or you think you're doing something like that's, it's a tricky path. But being able to meditate and focus your mind can help change it. And then when we put emptiness into it, and understand what's happening in all of those pieces of ourselves, then you don't study yourself, you deny yourself, Marina. Stop it. Don't make yourself a bigger self. But that doesn't mean don't pay attention to how seeds are arising. So, but once we get through this massive ship construction, right? This massive, piece by piece, we're putting this together. Then when we go into the LAMRIM and we start going through step by step, then when we meditate, we have all the skills to then achieve the realizations of the path of each of those steps. Right. And then if you are getting close to moving into Diamond Way, you have to apply both of those things. You have to be able to meditate and you have to be able to apply emptiness to all of it. Oh, I'm going to become a Buddha. Really? Do you understand? Do you understand that Diamond Way is not coming from its own side? And if you thought it was, go back to the beginning. Go back to first grade. And there'll be times that I've kicked people back, whether gently, kindly, or with force. Not physical force, of course, but with guidance. Like go back and do it. You should be studying LAMRIM all the time. Not only as a practitioner, but also as a teacher. How do you help people? How do you help people go from here to here? Right. And you can see where they have understandings and where they may not have understandings. But fundamentally, if you haven't learned how to calm the mind and then what to do when you're in it, that's the most important part. Meditation is active, it's not passive. And it doesn't mean have to do an hour a day. I just do it regularly. Right? I do 2 short sessions a day now because my mind is annoyed or upset or frustrated or whatever it is. Right? And so I do my main meditation is the preliminaries, the 4 powers, confession, you know, purify some of those seeds. So I do that more often. It's better to have shorter sessions, good, high quality, shorter sessions than one long session because you're probably deceiving yourself that it's good meditation. And then to recognize, and you use all the skills to recognize what's actually going on in today's landscape. What is the weather today? What is the weather today for Ludmila? What is the weather today for Uta? Right? I don't know. You know your weather, right? And your weather, guess what? The weather changes all day long. You start your session and you thought things were good, and then all of a sudden you're irritated about something that someone did 20 years ago. And for some reason, it's in your mind now. And then you start having a conversation with someone from 20 years ago, and you are right and they're wrong. Don't tell me you don't do those things, because I know you do. So what we're doing is we're building our ship. We're building all of the pieces. And it takes time to build them, and then it takes time to integrate them. And then we're going to go back to the beginning and start doing all of the LAMRIM pieces. But we're doing the hard stuff first because this is the stuff that's going to propel you forward. So where we are is there's 2 ways. Well, there's 3 ways, but there's 2 ways that for ordinary people, non-Aryas, people who have not reached the path of seeing, Sosokewos, Chibas, synonyms. I'm a thesaurus today. There's 2 ways that the self appears to us Sosokewos. And what is that? And what are those things? What is that? There's the to an ordinary mind, just an ordinary you. Like, think about yourself right now. Look around the room on your Zoom call, right? Like, look around, like, oh, okay. There's some cat food, there's some water, there's a phone, there's some windows, there's fog outside, right? There's shoes, there's cats, right? There's all these things going on in your room or your house, or if you're walking around like Constanza is. That's actually really good. She's walking around, right? So there's lots of things like she's listening to class and she's doing something else. Her mind, if she is who she looks like right now, ordinary person doing ordinary things, just walking around. I'm sure she's like, oh my God, myself isn't coming from itself. It's coming from seeds. I can't believe I have to see all these things. Probably not. Just ordinary you. I mean, maybe, who knows? Ordinary you. And that's the conventional self. That's the self that's, valid. You have a valid perception of yourself and you're not really thinking about it. You're not analyzing matak pachepa. You're not doing any of those things. You're just being normal you. And then there's this other way, which we could call it think of a name for this. When you go, oh, that's me. Right. And what I mean by that is like somehow, and it usually comes out when you're offended. I didn't do anything. No. I didn't do anything. Right. When there's a strong sense of self, when there's a strong, I don't know how to, there has to be a name for this. It's some, yeah, it's, I don't know, I'll figure out a name for it. And if you guys come up with it, great. Um, like you turn, like the focus becomes about you. Like you turn from, like Constanza was walking around somewhere. Now she has a nice, beautiful red background, right? That's a beautiful color, right? Walking around doing ordinary things, right? Just doing your normal stuff. Just living your life. Get up, take a shower. My light bulb broke this morning, complained about that. Okay, like, just normal morning, right? And all of a sudden you turn on the light and it blows out in the bathroom, right? Oh, motherfucker. I can't believe it. Stupid light bulb, right? That's the second way the self appears, right? Oh my God, I'm inconvenienced. Now I can't, now I can't take the shower the way I wanted to take the shower. I can't see in the bathroom. Ugh. Going to be late for class because I'm always late for class. There's always something that happens. Then when I'm late for class, there's always some reason, right? Now I got to go to the store and buy this special light bulb, and I got to get a ladder out and climb up to the ceiling. And I have to do this. Ah, okay, you know those feelings. My boss give me more work. Ah, my teacher criticizes me for no reason at all. Ah. Right? It's their fault, not mine. It doesn't matter whether you blame someone else or not. It's the moment where you say me, right? It's like the me. in the normal world, like when you're just walking around, it's just doing things, right? You're not really, yeah, you're kind of thinking of yourself. It's kind of ambiguous, not clear. But then you're like, bam, this is me. I'm inconvenienced. I'm upset. I'm happy. I'm blissful, right? Like where it's like a general and then specific, right? It's like a movement of from, you know, yeah, it's like a movement from general awareness to specific awareness. And a specific awareness of the object is me. This is why teachers love to inflict moments where afflictions come out. They love to create moments where someone's affliction comes out. Why? Because you think you're there by yourself and they're trying to teach you that you're not. My favorite thing my teacher does is he puts people together. It's like, oh, work on this project together. And then sits back and is like, let's just let the fireworks fly and just watch, right? Right. And if you're going to do that, you budding teachers, you have to be aware of that there's difficulties that come with that. You know, you know, people may not be happy with you. Or if they have a high enough view of the teacher, since they're not supposed to get upset with their teacher because that is number one downfall in Diamond Way, even if it doesn't mean you accept, it just means that you understand where it's coming from. Then you have to put that energy somewhere. So where do you put it? You blame the other person. They're impossible to work with. I can't believe they did this. I don't like them. And then you create conflict within a group, right? And then the conflict, the heats up and the fire keeps going. And then, you know, and then each of the people comes to the teacher and complains about the other person. And the teacher's like, that's a good, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. They're terrible. Right. And then the other person comes and the teacher's like, yeah, you're right. They're terrible. I know, right? I have a teacher that everybody thinks is on their side. And it is so funny to watch everyone be like, oh, should I say their name? It took me a while to learn what was going on. Oh, JB La, he took my side. Wait, what? I was talking to him yesterday and he said the same thing to me. And then in that moment with that person, you realize what's going on, right? What did they just do? Right? They made you feel like you were so important in the good way while you were upset. They made you feel important in the good way. Both ways are number three. The way you take yourself. I am this. General to specific. Oh, it's okay. Like sometimes you need a pet, right? Like you just you want a hug. You want, you want comfort. JB Law is amazing at that. But in the moments he'll be like, nah. Like, you know, you see. So the whole point is how do you get to recognize that self that you think is there is not there from its own side. And you have to experience it directly. You have to be like, oh, that's the self that Tim was talking about. And then you have to establish an awareness that instead of flipping between the two, general specific, that you can be just a part of your mind is in it. By the way, we just did the translation for today, and like I just reviewed all of it. We're going to go through the text in a second. But that's the like, how do you, that sort of conventional self that gets established by the ordinary mind, that's sort of ambiguous. How do you bring it to the surface? And one of my other teachers' favorite way to bring it to the surface is by, I call it the ego pump. Right? It's like pumping up a balloon. Let me put some air into that, like a air pump, right? You get plugged in, and then they're like, isn't Anastasia wonderful? She's such a great employee, which all these things are true. Okay, right? She works really, really hard, right? She does great. She does my social media. She's so good at it. She is, right? I had someone compliment it the other day. They said, Tim, it doesn't seem like you're teaching ACI courses from your social media, right? It looks like you're doing something different. And I said, well, good. That's what we're trying to do, right? And so then you just keep putting air, you keep pumping it up, right? Or some people, they already have so much air in their ego that you just, let's say, I don't know, there's different techniques for different students. But the techniques are all about like getting them to realize themselves, the self that they thought was there. That's all the teacher is doing, because then at some point it gets too much, and doop, and you just put a pin in that balloon, right? And I remember a couple years ago, like I didn't realize this was happening. It was so gentle to me, like it's like, oh, it's just a little bit from times. Like I'm feeling good about myself, doing a good job. Oh, I'm ACI director. Oh, good job, Tim. So smart, right? Get praised. Good job. Yeah. Right. And after about, what was it, 13 years, 14 years, something like that with my teacher, all of a sudden it got really hard. The air stopped being pumped in and actually was being taken out. Right. The energy was being pulled away. And then I was like, it was like shriveling up like a raisin. Right. And I'm like, and then it wasn't balloons, rainbows, and unicorns anymore. It was like getting like, they go into the heart and they're like, nyeh, 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 right? And everything was more like a criticism and a critique. And I talked to one of my friends, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And my friend was like, how long have you been around for? And I said, oh, 13 years, whatever it was at the time. And they were like, they're like, now they know you're not going to leave. They know that you understand enough. So you can take it. You can take the criticism. You can take the critique, because that's what you actually have to work on. Right? You can handle it now. You're not going anywhere, and it's going to get hard. And now you just have to, now your practice is going to be different. And you know what made the practice even harder? When everybody else was getting their egos pumped. Like I'm watching all the praise to everybody else and all the attention to everybody else. And I was like, that's not fair. I don't what why don't know what, and then you watch because it's still the same me, right? The me that had his ego pumped up, who was like, oh, I'm so good, is now the same ego that's like, I'm not being praised. I'm not being criticized. I'm not being recognized. All these other people are getting things that I'm not getting. Wah, 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 wah. Right? It's the same thing it took me a while to realize it. I whined a lot, mainly to myself. But you see, that's what we're trying to get at. It isn't bubbles and rainbows and unicorns or whatever your favorite animals that make you happy. Deer, peacocks, right? Cats. It's something else, right? All the things that make you you. So then you're not just a general being walking around in the world doing general being things. You're one that's like, oh my God, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. Meaning I think all these things, including me, are just out there by themselves. And anytime you have this moment of me, that's your practice. So it's don't take it. I'm doing this whole long thing and avoiding the translation right now because the point is that that's the success of the practice. The me that wants something to be a certain way and gets upset when it's not. Because it doesn't matter. Like, like whether you have things or you don't. Now, there is a teaching technique, right? It's called the four modes of teaching, right? But the whole point of all of it is getting us to understand the thing that we thought was there is not. The thing that keeps us little, that keeps us from change, that keeps us from really being reaching our potential. Because I see my job as helping people reach their potential, because that's what my teachers have done for me. And every time I hit a point that I can't, like a plateau, right? And then things kind of go sideways. When I look at it, the reason they went sideways is because I was only concerned about me and my reaction to it. There's enough suffering, folks, in life. Your body will remind you of that all the time. The older you get, the more you'll recognize it. And you can change the seeds, of course. I was looking at JB the other day. He is 78 years old and he looks younger and younger all the time. It's amazing. And it was funny yesterday, the meeting I had with him and Connie. They were having two separate conversations with me. And like Connie would say something about one topic, and then JB would be on a different topic. And it would seem like they weren't listening to each other. It was the funniest thing. It was like two, I mean, especially, like, what? It's like two old people who don't have their hearing aids in having a conversation, right? But they were having it with me, right? And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But it's this constant where are you thinking of, where are you not even realizing that you're thinking of yourself incorrectly? You know, and the name of and the game is, how do you search it out? This is called search and destroy. Search and destroy wrong worldview. Search and destroy wrong view. We're not going to get to the meditation. All right. So we were just talking about in this last section the idea of that innate self is always present, but in the most ordinary of moments, it's not possible to clearly see it. Right. And so when someone praises us or criticizes us, to me, etc., or when something makes us really happy or makes us really unhappy, deduk, right? That innate self becomes more evident and clear to the mind. Let's get this out of my face here. Okay. And you guys can see how bright it is outside, the reflection on my glasses. Sorry. It becomes clearer and more evident to the mind. So when we have something that makes us extremely happy or sad, praises us or criticizes us, the 8 worldly thoughts. Emily, could you get that picture from, what is her name? The one that you showed me yesterday at the, yeah, thank you. I can't remember her name. A beautiful, a woman from DSCU is an artist and made a beautiful picture of the 8 worldly thoughts. So we're always trying to be like, oh, avoid the 8 worldly thoughts, you know, things that make you happy, things that make you sad, blah, 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 right? Now, Pabonka Rinpoche is saying, oh, wait, look. I'm sorry, interpreters. You need to yell at me when I'm going too fast. Pabonka Rinpoche is saying, yes, don't be attached. Like the 8 worldly thoughts are about an attachment, but you can use the 8 worldly thoughts as a path. Anytime that you're praised, right? The air is pumping you up. Lama is like, you're so wonderful. Or Lama's like, May, criticizing you. Why did you do that? 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 Etc. Soak. You can use all of those things as a path. So stop getting upset. Don't, okay, let me rephrase this. You're going to get upset, or you're going to feel wonderful because you were praised, or you're going to feel like crap because you were criticized. Don't let it go on, but be like, oh, that's just another trigger point, right? It's a marma point. It's a point to go, oh, what's actually going on is, oh, me. Me is what's going on. Great. Now you know what to do. All right, here we go. Let's keep going. Ooh, first picture here. Oh, Marina, you're the first picture. Can you read from here?
Perna mi shenpashink
Cheek.
girangla tru taktavu sukpana ra la nakne nak yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ditavu che chung yam she dan rak o langten na ne i estene.
Nice. Good job. Good job. This word is ku. Okay. So, Perna, for example, not if someone this was a fun translation for me. If somebody engages in accusations that you have stolen from somebody, okay, and you've if someone else if somebody else launches a smear campaign, that's a great translation. They don't have those words in Tibetan, right? If somebody launches a smear campaign that you have stolen Rangla from someone, okay, someone says, "Oh, Marina, you stole the microphone," right? And you think about it, and in your mind, you think it over in your mind, right? And you say to yourself, "Nala nakme nak nakyel," all right? I have been wrongly accused, right? Nakyel means to name, like lay blame. Let me just let's put it in there so I wouldn't forget, right? Nakme is not black. Okay. Someone blamed you not black. So in Tibetan, that means wrongly, right? Nak me. I have been wrongly accused, right? Marina, you took that microphone. No, 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 I didn't. This is the teachers love doing this stuff, right? Get it? Then you feel wrongly accused. I have been wrongly accused. Nakla nakme nakyel. Nala nakme nakyel. Jesus, such hard to pronounce, right? Francisco, I can't believe you didn't get that work done. You're like, no, 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 no. I don't. I've been wrongly accused. I got it all done. Oh, okay. And then you tell me how you got it done, and I'm like, okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. But you have that feeling of I've been wrongly accused. All right. And then I just need to check this word here, make sure I got it right. Lang. What arises? Lang. Dung drakpo, a fierce anger. Right. Not only did you say, I've been wrongly accused, but from within, a fierce anger arises. All right. And then you say, Serna. Okay. That fierce anger arises and then it cries, it yells, right, out loud, and it says, Na nemitek. I will not accept this. I will I will not accept nay, which can mean sickness, right? I will not accept such depravity, a very English, British way of saying it. I will not accept such depravity, right? I do not accept this accusation. Your sickness. You have wrongly accused me. And this is why I love Pabonka, because this happens to us all the time. I have been wrongly accused. Oh, I'm not being mean. Yes, you are. I'm not being mean. Yes, you are. I'm not afflicted. Yes, you are. Well, I wasn't afflicted until you told me that I was afflicted. Now I'm afflicted. Yes, you are. Get it? I wasn't having a problem until you made it a problem. Oh, okay. Not any take. I didn't do anything. It's not my fault. Okay, not your fault. What's your fault? Let's keep going. Sarah, would you like to read the next line?
Yes, thank you. I'll try. Kakkyangmi tupar shor shor chepe kabkuk kag,
Mhm.
sup yudang, na,
Mhm.
ne teki ma, rate ser se, na,
Saying.
nyampa,
Saying.
sang,
Mhm.
sang, na nyampa chikning gi gil,
Kill.
ne
Kill.
sir kill, ne sir ling dam dring,
Mhm. Good job.
newa charwa de gag che char suyin.
Wow, nice. Your reading's getting amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. So hold on just 1 second here. My so I just want to check out real quickly. Okay. This paragraph took me, that's why I remember it's difficult, very, very difficult. So when you're accused of this, okay, and at that time that you're being accused of having stolen something, there's some kind of short shape, short chipa. So it's sort of like something gets released, okay, and we can call it like an uncontrollable reaction, right? Some people might just call it an emotional reaction. This reaction is released, it escapes, it comes out, right? And it's not able to be stopped. Okay. This is not, you're not able to block this uncontrollable reaction when someone has accused you of stealing something. All right. And then what happens? All right. What arises? And this word newa, it took me a while to figure out what it means. It's kind of like like it means to cry, like it's a cry from within. Like in this way, it's like you have this emotional reaction, you have an uncontrollable reaction, it can't stop, and it just emerges like a cry that emerges from a baby, right? And it delivers Tring in a very vivid way, right? Arising from the depths of your heart. Such a great line, right? So this emotion or this thing, right, which is what? It's the thought about me. Like this is such a beautiful poeticism. This is why I did my PhD in literature. Like I knew there would be a reason for it later in life. I never became a professor. But look, it's beautiful here. Like the arising of the me, like this thought, me. What is it? It's a cry that delivers very vividly to you from the depths of your heart. Okay. And what is that cry? Oh, it's when you said, Takne na ne take kimare. And I'm going to talk about this in a second. When you said, I will not accept such depravity, right? It's the same thing. This little ing here, okay, sighing. It is the same thing as the me, as I. When you say, I will not accept this, it is the same thing as the I, the me. So it's so lovely. And this line here, right? It's a cry that delivers. Tring is like delivering a letter. It's a cry that delivers brightly, vividly. Like Ling Ling is like the twinkling of the stars, right? From the depths of your heart. You can't control it. Kakyang mitupa. You can't control that. So by saying, I do not accept this, you're just saying, translation, me. That's all you're saying, me, right? Which I think is really cool. All right. We're going to have a little lesson right now. Kimare. Does anyone know what this means? Okay. It's very colloquial. Let's see if anyone said it in the chat. Right. It's a very colloquial way of saying something. It's actually it's a future tense, and it indicates factual things, something that's factual, right? And so what we're saying here is that when you said to yourself that you won't accept this, right? We're not saying that you said it. We're saying it as a fact that it was said. Okay. So for those of you studying colloquial, this is a great line to interpret here, because the original line actually is this. This is what the quote was from earlier. Nanemitek, right? But the structure changed a little bit and used the future tense here as to indicate factually that you said this. You will say this when you're falsely accused. It's not even like it's so assertive. It's very like, you are falsely accused, and immediately your reaction is, I don't accept this. And that is me. That's just a translation of me. And then I have something else to like add here just for shits and giggles for all of you. The cool thing about Tibetan is that there's different verbs that in translation mean the same thing. Okay. For example, this phrase, it snowed. Gantang song, kangtang shak. It means it snowed. Both of these literally mean the same, it snowed. But different verbs will give different indicators of what the person who's saying it to you. If someone says tang song, that means it snowed and I witnessed it directly. I was looking out my window and it was snowing. But if I say kangtak shak, it means it snowed, but I didn't see it snow. Like, I just looked outside and I saw the slush on the road, right? Like there's some evidence that there was, but I didn't see the actual snow, right? Like if you live in an area where there is a lot of snow and it melts, you didn't see the snow on the ground, but you see like the slushy water is kind of frozen. You know that it snowed. You see. So Tibetan has this really cool, different verbs will indicate your relationship to the thing that you're talking about, whether it's a fact, whether it was observed directly or whether it was indirect. It's really cool. And you unfortunately have to learn all those things. And then once you learn all those things, then you can get you can get the you can get this more subtlety of the language. All right, next line. Who's next here? You read. Uta. You've been read for a while. You don't want to read? No. Are you sure? Okay, I'll give you a pass, but next time, Francisco, this one's good for you.
De a nangi nanga
Gajik.
gajik
Mhm.
gajik dange dupchi yenga yarumbal. Wow.
Yungbal.
Wow.
It's actually Pal. It's more Pal. Excuse me. It's it can mean Nepal,
Oh,
but it's not what this means in this case.
oh.
Rung Pelten.
Rumpaten. Ten pelonyo ruchik ji ngar sin la ke sukan. Here to kune de
Good.
ngay. They smash
Some.
some. They some their koi nak sula ratgo.
Good.
Ratgo.
Nice. Okay. So like that. Similarly, what am I? You can bring about. You can bring about very powerfully. You can bring up in a powerful way, purposely. Like chuk can mean like explicitly or purposely or exploited. Like you can exploit this. What's the word I'm looking for? Weakness. That's what I'm looking for. Was looking for it last night. You can exploit the weakness, right, of your ordinary self, like your ordinary self. You can bring it up powerfully, purposely, to bring up that innate sense of holding to the self, that innate view, that incorrect view, right? How do you do it? Kangyang Rung Peltenpe. Oops. Sorry. You can bring it up explicitly to your mind, right? And in any number of ways. How can you do it? Oh, you can do it with happiness, ga. You can do it with fear, jik. Or you can do it with deduk, pleasure or pain, pleasure and pain. Okay. You can purposefully exploit the weakness in the system and bring it explicitly to your mind by using things like happiness and fear, pleasure and pain. Okay. And when sam means border, right? So when you're in that experience, when you're on that edge, right? When you're between the ordinary self and then the innate self, right? This is when you need to examine takga, the way that the way that the self arises to the self, the way it appears to your mind. Okay. Find that space. And unfortunately, we're out of time. Good luck. but but find that space. Like anytime that you are triggered, we'll say, like trigger warning. Okay. This is the real trigger warning. Right? Anytime that you're offended, anytime that you're happy, anytime you're in pleasure, anytime you're in pain, right? So that's a way to trigger the self, triggered your recognition that that's me. I don't accept such depravity. I follow a guy on Instagram who gives different Englishisms from colloquial all the way to like royalty, like all the different ways that you would say it depending on your register, right? I shall not accept this. I do not accept. I didn't do anything. Whatever your version is, that equals me. That is you. That's the one we deny. Okay. So we use the wrong worldview to make the right one. That's what I mean by exploit the weakness in the system. Pabonka is giving us a tool to take advantage of our own emotions. And what I mean is turn what is it? What's the phrase we use? Your suffering is the path. Make it the path. You know, Uta's not feeling well, right? And that sucks. Sorry, right? You know, but can you make it the path, right? And sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you're like, mommy, like, mommy, please just take care of me, and that's fine, right? And you do when you need those things, of course. But your pleasure and your pain, your happiness and your fear, we can tweak the matrix, as it were, because it equals you, and that you, I don't know why that thumb went up, and you become, that's what you then end up denying. Turn the problem into the path. There's the word I was looking for, right? Sometimes the problem is too heavy, and that's why leisure and fortune is so important, which we will learn about early in the LAMRIM, because without leisure and fortune, you don't have the capacity to turn problems into a path. But you are all here, so I suspect that you do have some of that leisure and fortune. That doesn't mean we don't suffer in it, but it gets better, it gets worse. And then you either get out of it this time or you do it next time. That's how it works. But we're on a way to making it to get out. So our suffering is actually a blessing because it makes us realize who we are. That's a t-shirt. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We will do the meditation next week. I'm sorry, as per usual, I talk too much, but I think it's helpful. But if you want to create your own meditation, I challenge you in this next day, when you have a reaction to something, to be like, oh, that's what Tim was talking about. Maybe ACI staff in our next meeting, I might say something to someone, and then you'll be like, no, I did that. And then I'll be like, hee. Okay. Anyway, thanks for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm happy that you're here. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a wonderful next couple days, and please say goodbye to each other.
Thank you for teaching.
Thank you,
Thank you,
teacher.
everyone.
Grazie, Lama.
Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Get it? All right. Bye. Have a wonderful day.